John 19:7. Apokritheson auto hoi judaioi. Hemes nomon echamen. Kai katata nomon aphele apothanein hati huion theu haotan epoiesen. We see this back and forth between the Jewish officials and Pilate. And Pilate says he doesn't want to crucify Jesus. He finds no fault in him. And the Jews answered him. That is, they answered Pilate. Don't forget that the verb apokrinomai takes a dative object or complement. That's why that's in the dative. So the Jews answered him. This is what they said to Pilate. We have a law. And according to that law, notice that this article here is probably the anaphoric use of the article previous reference. In other words, law is introduced. It doesn't have an article. When it's mentioned a second time, there is an article. It's like, yeah, the one I talked about up there. We have a law, and according to that law, according to our law, he ought, that's from the verb aphelo, he ought, he should. Oh, that's a verb just asking, just waiting to be completed with a complementary infinitive, right? It's just hanging in the air until we hit the infinitive. Most infinitives end in ein or I, and there it is right there. This is an infinitive. It's from the verb apothnesko, right? Apothnesko. And it's the second, it's building on the second aorist stem. So it's a second aorist active infinitive, and to die, right? And you can see how the aorist as a holistic action. Dying is something that's more naturally presented as a whole, including the beginning and ending, rather than in some sort of unfolding way that does not include the beginning and ending. In other words, that's we would expect an aorist infinitive and not a present, right? So according, we'll just pick back up here. So we have a law, the Jews say, and according to that law, he ought to die. There's our complementary infinitive, because he made himself the Son of God. And we're translating that definite from context, right? He made himself out to. In other words, he claimed himself to be the Son of God. That's a double accusative with an object and a complement.